we started to learn all about area, right? And we discussed how to find the area, how area is the inside of a closed 2D shape. And we talked about how if there's squares and they're equal and they're squares, that you can just count the squares, right? We talked about finding the area of a rectangle. We talked about finding the area of a non-rectangle or an irregular shape, right? So today we are going to begin learning how to multiply to find area. Now we talked about this a little bit already, but we're gonna go even more into it, okay? Here is our first question. It says, Jenny wants to find the area of the rectangle shown, but some ink spilled on it. How can she find the area if she cannot count all of the square units? So, she's not sure how many square units are right here. We have to figure out how she can still find it. I want you to try on your own first. Take a guess if you're not sure. How do you think we could still find the area of this? Go ahead in this blank space, try it on your own. Give me an answer in the chat when you find one. I'm going to try and respond to you as you give it to me. Oh, there you go. Give you guys one more minute to try and share an answer with me, and then I'm gonna call in some people. All right, do we have somebody who wants to tell me how they got their answer and what their answer was? All right, Raphael, so tell me what you did.
So what I did, I counted the top row because it was not spilled, and then I saw that it was 6, so then I counted 6, 12, and then 16. So without seeing the one that spilled.
Okay, you're close. Let's double check this top row, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But you're right, so you knew there were 3 rows. We just had a little counting thing, but that's okay, we fixed it. So if there's 5 and you know there's 1, 2, 3 rows, you can do 5. I'll write that. 5 times 3, and you would get 15. Okay, which is good. That's a way you could do it. Okay, so by counting this top row, you know there's 5. Counting the side, you know there's 3. And then you multiply them and you get 5 times 3. Now, somebody in the chat told me something and they were very correct. Can I leave my answer like this? Is this right if I just put 15? Somebody tell me if they think it's right or not right. Sophia F., what do you think?
It's not right because 15 of what? 15 square units.
Perfect. Good job. And that's what somebody else told me in the chat. You need to put what the units are. Now for this one, they just told us it was square units. Okay, so I'm gonna write square units. Or that other way I told you could write it, 15 units with a little 2. That's another way to write squared, okay? In math, it's really important that you write out not just the answer. You need to put 15 what, okay? Sometimes in a word problem, it's going to be 15 marbles. Maybe it's going to be 15 inches. Maybe it's going to be 15 feet. In this one, it's 15 square units. And it's really important that you have that square, okay? Any questions on that, or somebody want to share a different way they did it? Good. Okay, let's go to the next page. Page 316. Okay, so this is going to kind of just review what we were just saying. So it says, explain how you found the area of Jenny's rectangle when you could not see all the squares. Okay, this is what we just did. We counted the row we could see, we counted how many rows there were, and we multiplied. Okay, so we just talked about that. Next thing says, when you know the length and width of a rectangle, you do not have to count the square units to find the area. You can multiply instead. Jenny's rectangle without the ink spill is an array of squares that have been pushed together. Here's a word we've learned before, array. Okay. What 2 multiplication equations can you write to describe this array? We did one. Somebody tell me which one did we do on that side? We did 5 times 3. What's the other one we could do? What's the other one we could do, Ellie?
3 times 5.
Perfect. 3 times 5. Good job. Are we going to get the same answer? Yeah. 5 times 3 and 3 times 5 gets us the same answer. Okay. All right, next one says, write an equation to multiply the length and the width of the rectangle. Okay. Length is this one. 5 squares long. So we're going to start with 5. 3 squares wide. So we're going to do times 3. Okay. And the second part says, explain how you can use length and width to find the area of a rectangle. I'm going to shorten our explanation. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to say length times width. So we're going to write length times width equals area. That's how we use the length and width to find the area. Length times width equals area. Yes, Cameron.
What page is this?
316. 316.
Red tab.
In your red tab. Okay, then our next question says, explain how 5 times 3 gives you the same area as counting all the squares. So why is 5 times 3 the same? Somebody think they can explain it? That's okay if not. Trisha, what do you think?
Just change the groupings, not the number.
Okay. We could say 5 times 3 tells us there are 5 groups of 3 squares, right? It gives us those groupings. That's the same as counting all the squares. Yep, it's the same number in a different order. Could say that. All right, here's what I want you to do. If you're still copying this down, that's fine, keep copying it down. If you're done though, I want you to try and do the reflect question. How is finding the area of a rectangle like finding the number of items in an array? How is this like finding an array? What do you think? Think about it, try and write an answer. Okay, I'm gonna give you a minute to try first, and then I'll put my explanation. So how is this just like an array? What do you think? So thinking about yours, but I'm going to start writing mine. So finding the area of a rectangle is like, so I'm restating the question, like finding the number of items in an array because they both count number of items in a row. Okay, good, Chris. They both have columns and rows. That's another way you could say that.